Okay, I think we can start. So thank you everyone for joining in the webinar today. Today we have our registered partner from India South, Promantia. They will be showcasing their experience of ERPNext solutioning with some textile companies. Like what were their pain points of the customer and how they resolved in ERPNext. Let me give you a bit background about Promantia and Pradeep. Promantia has been a registered partner with us for more than 3 years now and currently a certified silver partner as well. And Pradeep is a project manager at Promantia. He has been working with Promantia for the last 12 years now, and he has been involved in end-to-end implementation of various projects. He comes with functional and technical knowledge of ERPNext and will share with us some successful implementation around textile companies. So we welcome him and appreciate his efforts in putting together for us this webinar today. So over to you, Pradeep. Maybe you can speak a bit about yourself before we start, and then we can dive into the topic of discussion.
Sure. Thank you, Arpita. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank Frappe for giving us an opportunity to give a presentation or a webinar with respect to the implementation, what we have done, especially for textile industry. Thank you, Frappe team. And secondly, I would like to acknowledge my fellow colleagues and my people or the champions at the client's end who have made us who have actually made us accomplish this feature for the manufacturing module implementation. Okay, so I'll head over to the presentations. So I'll just share my screen and I'll okay. So yeah, so this myself, I'm Pradeep. Currently, I'm working as a project manager at Promantia for ERPNext practices. Initially, I have a prior experience of about 12 plus years across multiple ERP platforms, majorly a little bit of open source, and in the middle, I've worked for implementing SAP BUN for metal industries. So this is my overall experience. I actually started off as a technical person, and then I changed my profile to techno-functional, and then right now I'm here as a project manager. So heading over to the presentation, now the major challenges, I'll just discuss about the major challenges what we had when we are actually doing the implementation of manufacturing module for the textile industry. So coming out to the customer overview, our customer is Rangsutra, who is actually based out in Rajasthan, and they even work from other different locations like UP, Bihar, and Kashmir. They are solely focused on the handicraft clothing and furnishings. The clothing and furnishings that they actually do is a women-centric one, which actually uses the local artisans of each place, and they develop the handlooms. And the major business is like B2B, B2C, and even e-commerce platforms. So B2B, the major clients for them, what they have right now is IKEA, Jaipur, and Fab India as well. And apart from that, the normal B2C sales happens via the e-commerce web portal. So they have actually integrated Shopify for their business. Yeah, so this is an overview of the client Rangsutra. Heading over to the challenges, what we had is one of the major challenges with respect to Rangsutra was how do we handle the subcontracting process, because since they are dealing with handlooms and cloth items, fabrics, threads, all these items, right? So their challenge was how do we handle such a vast volume of data entry operations in the ERP system. Okay, so and also along with that is their concern was with respect to the variance as in so for example, if a shirt or a kurta is made, it can be made in different sizes, different colors. So this is where they had a challenges when it comes to the third party subcontracting or even the in-house manufacturing. Okay, so highlighting the challenges what Rangsutra team was facing was one of the challenges is like too many manual entries, or the number of transactions would increase in both these cases, subcontracting as well as the in-house, where they had to do individual entries all alone, and manually they had to do it in the system, which was a time consuming activity. That was first. And the second one was that when they are sending any raw material for developing or production of a finished good, right, they are not sure as to which raw material is being consumed against which final FG. That they would only come to know when the production of the final FG happens, and when the Rangsutra team is actually recepting the same product in the system. That's when they will get to know the detail as to which raw materials batch was consumed against which finished good. So in order to handle these, right, so what we have done is we have just done not just actually, we have done two customizations with respect to subcontracting and in-house manufacturing, wherein uh, we have not deviated from the core process or the workflow of the ERPNext product. What we have done is we have just put in a middleware, sort of a middleware, which will actually help the users out to consolidate the items. It can be raw materials, or it can be the work orders or the job cards, and it is very easy for the users to use it. And once the consolidation and once the user starts working on the consolidated screen, after that the system, the customization what we have done, it will go through, or it will follow through the core ERPNext process itself. There is no deviation in that as such. The only thing is we have just made it easier. It is just one screen, and just the user have to enter few data, and on one click of a button, the all the production and everything happens on its own. In addition to that, what we have done is we have done a quality check and a material inspection, and also we have actually started working on this repair and rework. So yeah, now I'll just head over to the next, the major customization aspect. So starting off with subcontracting process, the feature what we have built for subcontracting is bulk issue of a raw material. Okay, so the problem what Rangsura team was facing is, as I explained earlier, right, it is, excuse me, because of the variances what they have, a single product in multiple colors or multiple sizes, right? It was very difficult for the users to actually create a stock entry or send to subcontractor doc type for each and every process or each and every raw material. And this problem happens majorly when the quantity is vast in size. For example, if they have got an order from IKEA or Fab India, IKEA, no, they don't order 10 or 20 pieces per month or per year. It is like huge order they get. And with that order, they have to send out maybe for embroidery work or cutting work or stitching work, any of these operations, right? They will give it to subcontractor. So at that point of time, they just send it, they want to send it in bulk, so that they don't have to do a stock visual again and again when the orders keep coming in and when they want to get the work done. So in this, what we have done is we have actually consolidated the raw materials based on the BOM and the FG items, whatever is, or the intermediary items, right? So based on that, we have actually consolidated the raw materials, and in one shot, we will just do a bulk issue. So I'll just showcase one scene or a scenario where they have this process. Just give me a minute. Let me just share my screen. So I know this is very vague representation, but I'll just give you an overview. So this, right, the FG is nothing but the actual quantity or the finished good which is required. For example, here I've just used aliases. I was supposed to change that, but I'm very sorry I couldn't do it. So the aliases here is like kurta red and kurta blue. So this is one of the variants. Okay. So for that, for these both these finished good item, right? So the common raw material which will be used is threads of red color, yellow color, and blue color. Of among these, the common raw material is nothing but a yellow color thread. Okay. Yeah. So I was explaining, right? So this is my subcontracting order of the final FG. These are the raw materials required, and this is just a sample quantity of the raw material which I require for which sort of a finished good item. And when I am doing a subcontract sent to subcontractor, right? I will have to do a manual issue for the common item, which is like thread yellow, multiple times. So instead of doing this, what we have given or what we have done as part of the customization is that we will just issue it in bulk, so that the user does not have to worry about doing a issue again when the production starts. And the best part, or as I mentioned earlier, right, the Rangsala team will know about the consumption only when they are doing the final receipt of the finished good. Okay, so until then, they don't know which raw materials batch has been consumed against which FG production. So FG or intermediary item production. So that consumption happens at the time of subcontracting receipt in ERPNext. So I'll just head over to the demo of the flow for subcontracting raw material bulk issue in the ERP system. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Uh, okay, so here, right, okay, I'll just start off from the transactions. So initial step, what we do is we actually create a service PO, and on that service PO, we create a subcontracting order. Yeah, so I was mentioning, right, so issual of raw material in bulk is the feature what we have actually developed for Rangsutra. So here, if you can see, these are the total raw materials that are required for my intermediary or the final finished goods, which I want to get it done from my subcontractor. So if you can see here, there's a consolidated raw material table, which is a customized application what we or customized process what we have done. So this will list out all the RMs that has to be used, or that will be used for production of the items. So once my subcontracting order is created, I'll just submit it. So in this, what we have done is, this is the default feature of ERPNext, which is like material to supply. On this, what we have done is we have just created a bulk transfer option, which will work same as the material transfer itself. But here it will show me the consolidated items. So if you can see here, these are my raw materials which are listed out, and these are my quantity which is required for my intermediary or the finished goods to be produced, and which has to be issued to my subcontractor. So this is automatically calculated. So in this, what we do is, either in one shot I can send all the quantity, or if in case I do not have stock and whatever stock I want to send, I can just send those quantities. So if I'm doing a partial issue, again I can do one more bulk issue once in the next process. So when I enter the quantity which has to be issued, and when I click on submit, right, it will nothing but just create a stock entry doc type, and it will the type will be of type sent to subcontractor. Okay. So once my stock entry is created, all I have to do is I have to just save, and I have to submit the document. So here you can see, right, I created a subcontracting order, and supply. So I've just issued 15 quantities of each raw material to my subcontractors, which gets automatically updated here. So once the issue is done, the next process is after the production happens and it is sent back from my subcontractor, I'll have to do a subcontracting receipt. So this is again a consolidated receipt wherein I can receipt all the FGs which I've actually received, or if I've even received a single item, that also it can be received. So here, the actual quantity which has to be received from the subcontractor is auto-calculated based on my BOM definitions, right? And here, based on the quantity whichever I've received, I can enter the quantity here, and I can just click on create. So this clicking on create, it is nothing but it'll again, it'll create a subcontracting receipt. That is all. It is a basic feature of ERPNext, and the consolidated RM and the consolidated receipt view is the one which we have uh, customized. Okay, so if you see, this is my subcontracting order, which I created 1660, against which I've partially received the quantity which I had given to my subcontractor. So now again, if I have to do one more transfer, right, all I have to do is, the user has to do is just do a bulk transfer, and again, it will automatically pop up based on the issue which has happened and based on the receipt as well, what is inverted, right? So based on that, it will automatically recalculate the item which has to be issued. And all I have to do is again, I have to just enter the quantity, and then just I have to create on the click on the create. So this is like one click functionality which we have actually provided to Rangsutra, and they're very much happy because this has made the whole process of data entry operation very easier for them, and they don't have to worry about which batch consumption has to happen. Everything is like automatically dealt by in the system. So this is with the subcontracting process. Now heading over to the next flow, which is nothing but my in-house manufacturing. So in the in-house manufacturing, the major problem again, what Rangsutra team was facing is with respect to data entry, because of too many records or too many work orders and job cards which has to be created, the time consumption process. So, and especially when there is when there are like too many operations involved with respect to production, right? So that time creating a work order for each and every operation, each and every raw material, and for each and every finished good. I hope you know the how the users feel, because it is like too lengthy process and too consuming process. So in this case, what we have done is we have just given them an option of consolidated work order. So the consolidated work order option is nothing but, so if any production plan has any number of operations and any number of finished goods with their respective intermediary items, all those operations will for all those operations, work orders and the job cards will automatically get created, and it will show up in a consolidated form view, wherein all the user has to do is just check for the intermediary item or the finished good which they are receiving back, or which for which the production has been completed. Based on that, all they have to do is just enter the final receipt quantity and click on OK. So by doing so, the system will automatically create the stock entries. So I'll just head over to the demo of the in-house manufacturing process. Okay, so in this case, what I've done is I've already created a production plan. So in this production plan, right, so this is my item. So this item is nothing but a woman's kurta of color red and size small. Okay, so earlier when I was talking about the variance thing as well, right? So the variance is a major problem for Rangsutra, because if they're manufacturing one kurta of a specific color, it will have 5 to 6 sizes. So imagine if they have to produce 5 kurtas of different colors for those different sizes, right? So that will take the, what do you say, the number of intermediary products and the finished goods to about 120 plus. So for all these 120 plus, they have to manually create 120 work orders, and in this case, it is just for one item. Imagine if the production is happening in bulk, So at that time, I mean, the users will have to spend a lot of time only in the data entry and figuring out which stock has to be issued, which item has to be received, and how to avoid all these confusions. We have done this customizations. So in this case, what we have done is we have actually created a bomb for this particular product, which actually drills down to the child bombs. So starting with this will be my first operation, and for this particular production plan, we have 5 operations. One is like cutting, stitching, embroidery, finishing, and then packing. So once I add the item here, my final FG item based on the bomb number, and when I click on the get sub-assembly items, right, automatically all the operations will get carried forward. Okay, and so this is an existing production plan which we have already worked. So I'll just show you the features of what does our development or the customization, right? So here, if you can see, it's this material request is nothing but the default one. So here the consolidated work order is nothing but what we have given. So once we create a production plan and we save and submit the production plan, right, automatically a consolidated work order will get created in draft status. And once it's in draft status, all we have to do is just go inside and see. It will create respective work orders for each operations and its final finished goods. So this work order 683 is for cutting. This is for embroidery. This is for stitching. This is for finishing. This is for packing, and this is my final FG. Okay, so here it will also give me a list of the items, the intermediary items, and the raw materials which is required for the production, the whole of the production to be complete. So in this work order, what we have to do is we have to just click on start. So in the start, so based on the quantity that has to be produced, right? So basically my work order is nothing but it's a planning tool. Correct. So it's a planning tool where we will, or where Rangsutra will enter the quantity that has to be planned. Okay, so here my production plan earlier had 100 quantities required for the final finished goods. So for all these cases, the required quantity will automatically come up. Now, here the user will enter how much quantity has been planned. So in this case, if I enter, I have to produce 5 quantities of these products, right? So the user has to just enter 5, and it is not necessary that the user has to enter all the lines in one shot. Okay, so they can go step by step. So only if they want to do this complete the cutting operation alone, and if they want to just work with cutting operation, they want to finish that. So all they have to do is just keep this cutting operation, and then they have to enter the quantity, and then they have to click on the stock entry. So stock entry is nothing but it will again create a stock entry document for material transfer from manufacturer, and it will create 6 stock entries automatically. So all the 6 stock entries is nothing but respective stock entry against individual work orders. Okay, so these 6 stock entries get created automatically. Now the user can either go to individual stock entry doc type and they can actually submit it, or in one shot, if they're sure that okay fine, this is what is required, they can just select all and they can do a submit. Once a stock entry has been submitted, right? So now the production process is happening. So basically, what has happened is the user has created the work order, and he's created the job order or the job card. He's created the stock entry. Everything has been done. So once the production is finished, he can just click on the finish, and he can input how many quantities of the planned quantity has he received after production. Okay, so in this case, since I've got all the 5 quantities that has been completed, so I'll just enter 5. I'll create a stock entry. Again, this stock entry is nothing but it is again receiving the final the intermediary products which will use for operations, and the final FG as well. So again, the same way how the stock entry for material transfer got created, 6 documents and draft status, in the same way while doing the receipt also, the 6 stock entry documents get created in the draft status. The user can individually go select each and submit it, or in one bulk shot they can submit the documents. So this is a consolidated work order feature which we have actually built for Rangsutra, and they are very much happy because now it is very easier for the users to enter the data. And also you can see that there are 15 quantities which have inverted, and there are like individual work orders which have got created based on the operations and my final lifting. Okay. So this is with respect to in-house manufacturing, the consolidated work order feature what we had developed. Heading over to the next one, which we have customized as nothing but quality and material check. So people might be wondering, already quality and inspection is already present in the ERPNext, right? So why did we customize that? Yes, it is actually present in the system. The only customization, the only problem which Rangsutra team was facing was every time when they do an inspection, the inspection can be done only once for the items which are being inverted. After that, they don't have the feature or the facility to do another round of inspection for the raw materials or the goods which have come to Rangsutra. So in this case, what we have done is right, uh, and this issue they're actually facing it when they're facing bulk or when they're purchasing bulk items, right? For example, cloth, it doesn't come in cut pieces in packets, right? It'll come in a roll to the factories. So the rolls can be about 100, 200 kilos. I mean, you don't know where it is damaged. So once they start opening a roll, only then they will get to know, okay, fine, how much of the raw material has been damaged or how much is like perfect and can be used for production. Okay. And the checking activity, right? The inspection activity is a manual process which actually Rangsutra team does. Okay, so based on the manual check, whatever Rangsutra team does, they wanted a facility where we had to give them to enter the inspection or the material check status on different dates. So for example, if the item was inverted on 1st of June, okay, and there was an initial check which was done on 1st of June, and the initial status was like passed, and after that 5th of June they actually unrolled the whole item and they started opening, and they started verifying for new more I mean, they started checking more if there are any other damage or anything else, right? So on 5th of June, they didn't have an option to do material check entry manually. So we just gave them an option to do that. Okay, and only once the material check has been completed across different stages or the different dates, after that, once they confirm that, okay, fine, the material which has been inverted is fine, and once they pass the status, right, only then the receipt happens in the system. Please excuse me 1 minute. Yeah, sorry for that. So yeah, as I was mentioning, right? So the material check is since it's a manual activity, they wanted a feature wherein they needed to enter the inspection status in multiple turns or across multiple days in the system. So this is one thing which we had developed for them, and the other one which we are actually working on right now is the repair and rework. So repair and rework is it's a bit complicated scenario for them because it's unlike the normal distribution system, right? Wherein if the goods are like damaged or if it is like malfunction, we can actually just send it for a refund or a replacement. So that is like pretty much a straightforward uh, process. But for especially for textile industries, when the repair and rework in happens at two places. One is when they're purchasing the raw materials, or the other one is explicitly when they're doing a purchase for subcontracting purpose. Okay, so when they're doing a purchase for raw materials, so at that time what happens is either they want to get a replacement or a repair without any additional cost. Okay, so this additional cost has to be borne by the supplier or the vendor. Okay, and if it is an item and if there is a contract between the vendor and the and Rangsutra, if there is any damage and it cannot be repaired or free of cost, in that case they will have to bear the charges for the repair. So that has to be captured in the system. This is one, and the other one is the subcontracting purchases. Okay, so subcontracting purchases, right? Here they have four stages of what do you say? Repair. One is repair at no cost, which is like basically a follow up of the raw material case. Okay, repair at extra or additional cost, again a follow up of the same raw material case. Repair in bulk. So repair in bulk is one thing which we are still actually figuring out how or what is a business solution. So uh, I can give you more in detail about this once even we are clear about how this process they are handling. Basically, the last two repairs, right? Repair at net zero and repair in bulk. So at this point of time, we're not clear on their actual requirements because this is something which is like still in development phase. The last two stories. So once I get more details on this, right, I can share it across with you guys. So yeah, I think that's all I had from my end. So maybe we can head to the Q&A sessions now.
Sure, Pradeep. If anyone has any questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask the queries. I can see that there are no queries on the chat box. So if you just have any queries, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. No one has any questions? Okay, Sneha does have a question. So she's writing, what if I want to produce the t-shirts with different patterns? How we can manage this type of manufacturing?
Produce t-shirts with different patterns, as in, could you just elaborate that, Sneha?
Sneha, you can unmute yourself. Anna.
Hi, I'm audible.
Yes, Sneha, you are.
Yes.
Yeah, if in textile industry there are many patterns of manufacturing. Like they are using different patterns, like for stitching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how we can manage these types of pattern? If I want to produce the t-shirt with four different types of patterns, then how we can manage this?
Okay, so basically you're referring to the stitch patterns which are used in the embroideries, right? Or embroideries of the fabrics.
Right, right,
Yeah. So for those cases, right, what we can do is again all these type of different stitchings are different operations altogether, right? Each stitching pattern will actually consume maybe lesser threads, or maybe so few stitching patterns will consume more thread in volume. So for that you can actually define a separate production plan of stitching, and this stitching will have different operations based on the type of stitches that you have, and this production plan you can use it for the next production plan where you are actually manufacturing the final end product.
yes. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? You can just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Nobody else? No other questions? Either everything is like clear to everyone, or
So in case no one has no further questions, so we just so we want you to actually share your feedback as well. this feedback actually is really helpful for us to actually improve on the public webinars as well. So I've shared the link in the chat box as well, so that you can share your uh, uh, feedback, and we can also improve on our public webinars as well. So, and also a round of thank you to our host Pradeep, as well as the entire Promantia team, to elaborate on the implementation practices that they have followed for Rangasutra. It has been really helpful to share your experience. So thank you everyone for joining in. Hope to see you in the further public webinars as well in the future. Thank you so much. You can also come to our frappe.io events page and see all our upcoming events as well. And in case you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to the email ID, which will pop up after this webinar as well. So thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye.